particularly enjoy sitting here in an Energy Committee room with the FERC commissioners in front of us and having it be relatively calm. No protesters, no security at the door. My times have changed. Senator Daines and I were just remarking that when both of us came here to the Senate, hydro was not considered a renewable resource. So I want to...
Moonshine does wonders for him.
No comment, Mr. Chairman. Hydropower, I want to stick with the same theme that Senator Daines hit on, because for us in the state of Alaska, hydropower is about 20% of our state's electricity on average every year. That's a pretty low amount, quite honestly, given the extraordinary hydropower reserves that we have, particularly in our southeastern part of the state. So many of our communities rely on small hydro or run-of-river projects, and this is what is allowing them to get off of diesel power generation. But unfortunately, for so many of them, it's just so expensive. It's ridiculously expensive to go through the FERC process, to go through the legal battles. And so what happens is these communities are stuck. They're stuck with diesel-generated power. And if that isn't an environmental justice in and of itself, I don't know what is. So this is a question for you. I'm not talking about Big Bonneville or Hoover. I'm talking about our small hydro facilities, our small run-of-river, don't impact your fisheries. What more can we do? We've got to be doing a better job to ensure that these small and rural communities can have access to hydropower without it being cost prohibitive. There was a time way back when we had actually advanced provisions that could allow these smaller hydro projects to avoid the FERC process. You know, that may be something that we need to be looking at, but what do you got? Because there's got to be a better answer than the status quo.
Thank you, Senator.
Commissioner Phillips.
We talked about this recently when I had a chance to speak with you. I agree with you, and I understand the frustration, especially when you talk about some of these small operations, as you mentioned, mom and pop type operations dealing with this vast process. There are 3 different licensing processes that FERC has, and they're different from original to traditional to sort of like a hybrid. We also have we have a pilot project where we are considering other ways that we can process applications. But I absolutely agree. We have to do more to make this process more streamlined. I'm focused on it. I have our entire Office of Projects team working on it.
So let me ask a question directly to that, because you had mentioned, I think in answer to Senator Daines, that you were working to speed the processing. But one of the things that is concerning to me is apparently what we're seeing is that now there are numerous requests coming from FERC staff for additional information related to FERC licensing amendment applications. So in order to get the FERC approval of some pretty standard operation and maintenance activities, this is like in-kind replacement of equipment at the end of its useful life. So you've got a situation where staff is asking for additional information that can theoretically delay the project and further add to the cost of the project. So again, it gets back to we can't even start. So let me give you some specifics here. What we understand is FERC's standard hydropower license conditions, these L forms, have long required prior FERC approval only when there's an activity that is, quote, a substantial change to the project, works, and plans. So now what we're seeing is that FERC is not necessarily following those license conditions. They're requiring approval for activities that are clearly not, quote, substantial. Again, what that does is it allows, or it requires, it demands a longer period to process and approve these license amendment applications. So if this is something that you're looking at, good. If you're not looking at it, I would just ask you to commit to going back to the Federal Power Act and FERC's standard licensing requirements and what they actually require. that the licensees are to maintain their projects in adequate operating condition, that the FERC require approval through license amendment only for substantial changes to the license. Because what we're hearing is that there's now an add-on, and that add-on is adding time, and that add-on is adding cost, and taking it to a place where you and I are in agreement, we need to be speeding up a process, we need to be streamlining a process, and we need to be making it more affordable.
I commit to looking at this and working with your office to provide you the information you request, Senator.
Good. I look forward to that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.